Welcome to the Big D streams, and let's just fix that sound. That should be good right there. Welcome to the Big D streams. This is a very, very surprise special stream for tonight. After today, it's been announced that the signing of, Bryan Mbeumo is imminent. It looks like we've got our man. We've agreed a deal with Brentford, and it's going to be £65 million plus £6 million in add-ons. So that means that Manchester United, assuming that Mbeumo hits his targets, I'm not entirely sure what his targets are at this point, or what these add-ons are, whether Man United win the league or whatever, I don't know. But we could be paying £71 million for Bryan Mbeumo. Have we overpaid for him, or are we going to overpay for him? Well, it all depends on how he does at United. Will he hit the ground running? Will he be another Antony? Sancho? Who knows? I've got a good feeling about the guy, to be honest. If you watch my previous stream, the guy seems to put a shift in. He presses. He's a hard worker. He's tenacious. He's got an eye for goal. The only question is, will he be able to work under the dreaded Man United microscope? And we all know what it's like. Well, we don't necessarily know what it's like personally, obviously, unfortunately. But from what we observe, there's certain players that just can't quite handle playing for Manchester United and the pressure that brings. They'd be terrified of being a meme like Harry Maguire. David De Gea was the best goalkeeper in the world at one point, and even his confidence took a hit. Famous number 7 pipes up. Good to hear from you, Famous. I think we've spoken before. 2 attackers in. Who do we need? Who do we now ship out first? That's a very good question. Any of them. Whoever wants them, take them. But thank you for that question. That was a very rapid-fire question. Any more questions? Please put it in the chat. Thoughts in the chat. The Big D reads all of the chat, and he's always interested in what is on your mind. But yeah, Bryan Mbeumo. I think it's a good signing, but I do think we might have overpaid for him a little bit. If he hits 20 Premier League goals next season, then he's a snip. But it remains to be seen. Let's see what happens. Anyway, we've got 2 attackers in. Yeah, you're right. Famous number 7. We have 2 attackers in. And apparently now, the focus for Manchester United is, it's to get rid of one, if not all, of Sancho, Rashford, Garnacho, Malacia, and Antony. There's potentially about £100 million worth of transfer fee there, if you think about it. Let's say we got 20 for Sancho. Let's say we got 30 for Rashford. There's 50. I think after what Antony did last season for Betis, we could get 30 for him. What's that? 80. The Big D had to think for a quick second there. There's 80. Get 10 for Malacia. Garnacho, we should get 40 or 50 for him. But the point is, we need to ship these players out, and that's the focus. But, is there something going on in the background? We don't know. There's reports of Barcelona putting a deal together for Rashford. There is thought. We've read about Juventus trying to do deals with trying to put a package together for Sancho. What's going on there? Are they just pulling our leg or what? We don't know. We haven't heard anything about Garnacho at this point, or Antony. Malacia. It's like, who's he? Do people even know he is on the transfer list? So who knows what's going on there? Tamesh Chen, good to hear from you again, my friend. United, I want to strike number 1 Sesko and Mbeumo, Tolisso, Edison, Emi Martinez to United. He's better for next season. Please, Ineos, make plan for Amorim. You are absolutely adamant with that shopping list to Mesgen, aren't you, mate? You said that for the past couple of times we've spoken, but that's fair enough, mate. You stick to that. You stick to your guns, pal. And yeah, I'd take a couple of those players, no problem at all. But we're going to get into Sesko in just a minute because the Big D's been doing a little bit of research about this guy and he wants to sort of break down why he may or may not be a good signing. We don't know. But going back to what Manchester United are trying to do now, they are trying to offload some players. But I'll tell you something. The good thing is now is I don't think a number 9 is a priority now, really. Because last season we struggled for goals, fair enough. And I've been saying for about 6 months now, we need a prolific number 9. However, we've just added potentially 40 goals next season with Cunha and Mbeumo, and that's just from them. You know, what about the goals that they might assist? I mean, they might help Højlund spring into action, you know? And plus, he's due for his medical Mbeumo over the next couple of days. So there is growing optimism that he's going to be on the pre-season tour. So if he goes away there, and Cunha's already bedded in now, basically, they could hit the ground running come the Arsenal match next month. And there's goals in that attack now. Because you add those two to Diallo, Xerxes scored a couple. Add him to Bruno. I think Højlund will be a lot better next season as well, especially if he's gotten used to this formation and everyone else has gotten used to this formation and he's got more people supplying him with potential opportunities. So there's goals in that team now. So I wouldn't necessarily say that a number 9 is an absolute priority. Now, why that's important, outside of the fact that the team needs goals, is that Man United are not desperate to buy anyone else now. Not really. Anyone else now up front is a bonus. I think we're strong enough in midfield. I think we're strong enough on the wing backs. I think we're strong enough in defence. Goalkeeper is still a bit ropey, obviously, but unless we get rid of him, which I don't think we're going to because he's injured now as well, and apparently he's going to be staying from the last time I read, that's not a priority as well. So I wouldn't necessarily say we're going to be looking to sign anyone else anytime soon, not unless we offload any of those 5 players. So that's a good thing. That means we are not desperate to sell. So if someone comes in and lowballs us on Marcus Rashford or Garnacho, we could just turn around and say, nah, we're not too fussed now. And then that might send a message to the other team and they'll be thinking, oh, hang on a minute, what's going on here? They were desperate to sell him 2 weeks ago, but now they've got Mbeumo. They don't need to buy another striker. Oh, we might need to, put an extra 10 million onto that. I think that's a good thing. But what do you think? Put it in the chat. The Big D reads all of the chat, as you well know. But yeah. Tonight, I wanted to talk about a couple of players that we've been linked with. Now, we've been linked with a few strikers. We've been linked with Ollie Watkins. I don't think we're going to get him, especially with the money what they want for him. I think they want about 50 million for him, for a player that's, 29, 30? Nah, he's not that good. And considering we've just paid 65 million for Mbeumo, we're not going to be getting Ollie Watkins anytime soon. So I'm not going to do a deep dive on him. I've already done a deep dive on Dusan Vlahovic, who I think is a potential signing for us. Now check a couple of videos ago on my backlog on my channel. I've done a nice little snippet there from one of my streams from last week. I go into a little bit of a dive about why he would be ideal for Man United and why, up until now, he is my number 1 choice. Now, after this little deep dive into these 2 strikers that I'm going to get into in a minute, that might change. But yeah, so we've been linked with Vlahovic, we've been linked with Ollie Watkins, we've been linked with Ekitike, but it looks like he's going to Liverpool, so we're not going to do a deep dive on him. Who else have we been linked with? There's been that many. It's like we're linked with Brazilian Ronaldo. Everyone's been thrown into the mix. But two players who I think personally are going to be the favourites for us to potentially sign. Now, I'm going to start with Nicholas Jackson of Chelsea. Now, Nicholas Jackson, I'm not entirely sure about this guy. I mean, if he's that good, why would Chelsea be open to sell him? That's my concern with this guy. Now, a quick breakdown of Nicholas Jackson at this point. It says here, Nicholas Jackson is a fast, agile and technically skilled striker known for his attacking runs behind defences, ability to hold up the ball and link play. He excels at finding and exploiting gaps, often using his pace and dribbling to get past defenders and create chances, while sometimes criticised for his finishing, his overall offensive contributions and work rate make him a valuable asset to Chelsea. So it's basically saying that he's a hard worker and he's quite skillful. He does have some really good attributes, but his finishing could be better. Well, it depends what kind of striker Ruben Amorim wants. Does he want a striker that scores goals? Or does he want a striker that holds up play? Are we going to get another Wout Weghorst? Or are we going to get a Ruud van Nistelrooy? Personally, I'd like a Ruud van Nistelrooy if there's one out there. His strengths here, pace and agility. It says, Jackson's speed and agility allow him to outpace defenders and make dangerous runs, stretching defences both horizontally and vertically. Attacking runs. He is adept at timing his runs. He's adept at timing his runs to exploit spaces in behind the defences, often targeting gaps between markers or attacking from blindside positions. And he's got actually quite good link-up play as well, so that would be actually really nice, especially if we've got Cunha and Mbeumo sort of playing behind him. And we all know that Ruben Amorim likes his attacking trio to sort of link up and swap, chop and change and all of that good stuff. It says here, Jackson can drop deep to receive the ball, connect with midfield and bring others into play, showcasing his ability to both score and create chances. Areas for improvement. While his overall offensive contributions are significant, Jackson's finishing has been identified as an area where he can improve. Improving his ball striking ability could further enhance his goal scoring potential. Now, I've looked him up on YouTube and I mean, he's got some good goals. He has, to be fair. I mean, he's bagged a couple against Liverpool. And Liverpool are a brilliant team, obviously. So he can score and he's got Premier League experience. But what would Man United be realistically going to be paying for this guy if we were to buy him? Now, just to look at his stats, 24-25 season. I mean, in all competitions, he's played 37 games and he's only scored 13 goals. That's not great. Not really. I mean, they're going to be wanting maybe 60 million for him. £60 million for 13 goals for a striker? I'm not sure he's the guy for Man United. But you tell me. But we've got a couple of questions here. Matavu, Bernard, midfielder and goalkeeper. I would agree with the goalkeeper there, pal. I would. I'd happily take a brand new goalkeeper, whether it's Emi Martinez, as Temes Gen really likes, or Diogo Costa. He would be my number one choice. I've even heard a bizarre rumour or read something about Donnarumma is interested in maybe listening to what Premier League clubs have got to say, including Manchester United. So I would certainly take him, which, I mean, it makes sense that he might want to leave PSG because he's won everything with PSG now. So maybe he wants a new challenge and maybe he wants to challenge himself in the Premier League. Whether he goes to Man United is a different kettle of fish. I think Man City would be a better shout for him. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, thank you for that question there, Matovu. I hope I've pronounced that correctly. United Sesko, I think you've said something in Arabic. I'm sorry, United Sesko, I don't speak Arabic, I'm afraid, and I don't have Google Translate at hand to translate what you have to say. So please, if you're going to ask a question, please at least put it in English. The big D, well, he tries to speak English anyway. Matovu Bernard again. No need of a striker. We need a midfielder who will help Ugarte because Casemiro is old and slow. Yes. Yeah, I understand your sentiment there, Matovu. I do. I genuinely do. Now, however, I think Casemiro has got a lot to offer still. He can certainly contribute next season, and he played quite well towards the end last season. We don't need him necessarily to be a starter, but if he's going to play, he does need some legs next to him, and I think he's played well when he's had sort of a younger, fresher midfielder next to him. Him and Ugarte playing together have actually played quite well together. They played well under Ruud van Nistelrooy and a little bit under Ruben Amorim. So I think he's got something to offer, and plus his experience and his professionalism will be valuable next season. I don't think he'll start. I think it's going to be Ugarte and probably Bruno, and then Casemiro and Kobbie Mainoo will sort of alternate with them. So yeah, I think Bruno's going to be playing in the number 8 position next season, which I don't really like. I don't like Bruno playing there. He's all over the place. He doesn't have positional discipline. He's an old-fashioned number 10, like a Roberto Baggio or a Del Piero. Now, I'm not necessarily saying he's as good as what those guys were. Certainly not Roberto Baggio. Put him in a top side, then maybe you could hit Del Piero numbers. Maybe. Probably. But the point is, I prefer Bruno Fernandes in number 10. But I think he's going to be playing in midfield next season, Matovu. But we'll see. We'll soon see. You never know. We might get a midfielder. But I don't think it is a priority position at this point. Oh, by the way, I was at the Lyon game last season, and Casemiro was class. I think he got the assist for Harry Maguire's winner, actually. Yeah, so no, I think he's got something to offer there, Matovu. But I understand your sentiments there, pal. Famous number 7, what we saying? Let's see. Should we have signed Rooney Bargy for 2 million? 100% yes, famous number 7. Thank you, mate, for saying that. Oh, my God. That has annoyed me so much, famous number 7. I agree so much. I mean, I've just bought him on a Football Manager game for 17 million. I remember, I think it was the last time we were in the Champions League, we were playing against Copenhagen, and he tore us to pieces. And I remember watching him, and I remember looking him up on Football Manager after that, and his stats were through the roof. He was class. And to think they've got him for a snip, and they've had no one else has come in for him. That is absolutely awful on the Man United scouting department, especially when he tore us to pieces. If Ferguson was the manager, he'd have snapped him up there and then, like he did with Ronaldo in that pre-season friendly that time. Good grief. We could have got him for 2 million or whatever it was, and we've just spent 65 million on Bryan Mbeumo. I mean, no disrespect to Mbeumo, he could be class, but we could have got Rooney Bargy. But yeah, famous number 7, I agree 100%, mate. We should have got him. Yes, sorry, I should have read the rest of your message there, pal. Looked good against us, and we may have missed out on a big talent. Plus a solid United name. Absolutely. Whenever he scored a goal for me on Football Manager, I was singing, Rudy! Yeah, famous number 7, thank you, mate, so much for saying that. I feel vindicated. Niche fan, nice to hear from you again, my friend. And Mbeumo done, thank goodness. I agree. That being said, serious questions need to be asked of Glinios. Glinios. I like that. I do. 7 weeks and more than we needed to spend on Bryan is insane. Someone needs to be sacked. Yeah, I agree with those sentiments. He's took too long and we've overspent on him, I think. That's if he's crap. I mean, he could be brilliant. If he bags 15 to 20 goals next season, we're going to be forgetting about that price tag, to be fair. But we'll see. We'll see. He scored 20 goals for Brentford last season, and that's for Brentford. So if he can come into United, and to be fair, I know we were crap last season, but we've got a more talented squad that should be doing better, and it would have finished fourth if Van Nistelrooy was the manager for the entire season, such is the talent in the team. But now that everyone's gotten used to this new formation, hopefully, then he could hit the ground running, and he could maybe get more than 20 goals next season for Man United. Maybe I'm just the eternal optimist. There's a lot of negative Man United fans out there on YouTube, but I am an eternal optimist. But yeah, I agree with those sentiments. But yeah, you guys who are watching, please, thoughts in the comments. Thank you for those questions. Famous number 7, niche fan, Matuvu. Any more questions, put it in the chat. The Big D reads all of the chat. And as he always says, thoughts in the chat. He always wants to know what's on your mind. Anyway. Oh, quick one. Not Brett May and Mbeumo. Yes, I agree. Mbeumo. Anyway, yes, so Benjamin Sesko, apparently, according to Sky Sports, this guy is the one to watch. Apparently, we have been scouting this guy for a few seasons, even when he was at Salzburg. And, well, I've looked into his stats. We're going to look at him. I mean, he's still quite young. I've looked at him on YouTube. And he looks very, very impressive. Incredibly skillful. And he's got a goal in him. Not just tap-ins, but screamers. He's certainly got a highlight reel already. And I can kind of see why people have compared him a little bit to Erling Haaland. He's definitely not as prolific as Haaland. I mean, Erling Haaland was a monster straight away. This guy hasn't quite hit those numbers just yet. And we're just going to look at his stats here. So last season, I mean, he only scored 13 goals in 37 games in the Bundesliga. No, he didn't. Ignore that. I was talking about someone else. He scored 21 goals in 45 games in all competitions. And he did score 13 goals in 33 appearances in the Bundesliga. Now, he did score 4 goals in 8 appearances in the Champions League. And he got 4 in 4 in the Cup for Leipzig. But, I mean, if this guy's meant to be the next big thing, that's not amazing. I mean, his skills are class. Just go on YouTube and type in Benjamin Sesko, goals, skills, whatever. And you'll see it's a highlight reel just from that season alone. He does look a player. But we're going to have to spend a fortune for this guy. That's the thing. And why are we doing that when we've already got Rasmus Højlund? I thought the whole idea of buying a number 9 was to get someone that's the finished article. At least with Gyökeres, he was the finished article. He's ready. He's good to go. There shouldn't be any bedding in period with him in the Premier League. There shouldn't be. He's 27. If he's not going to be able to do it now, he's never going to be able to do it, you know. But Sesko, he's still quite young. Now, I'm just going to look at his stats from the season before. So from 23-24, I mean, he only got 18 in 42. And then the season before that, he got 18 in 41. So he's not smashing it. He's getting roughly the same kind of numbers. But he's not smashing it. And we want someone to smash it. If we're going to buy a number 9, we want someone that's going to put the ball in the back of the net. Now, he could come to the Premier League and he could be a revelation. And next season could be the season where the penny drops and all of a sudden he bags 30. We don't know. That's the thing. But from what I've seen here, he doesn't necessarily look like the prolific forward that we want. But let's have a little look at the report. So it says here, Benjamin Sesko is a versatile striker known for his blend of size, pace and technical ability. So those things will serve him well in the physicality of the Premier League. It says it makes him effective in both possession-based and counter-attacking systems. Now that's good. That's good because Ruben Amorim's system sort of employs a mix of both of those things. He combines physical presence with agility and quick feet, allowing him to hold up the ball, dribble past defenders and finish effectively. Sesko also excels at off-the-ball movement, finding space in the box and contributing to build-up play. Now that's good, especially if he's going to link up with Mbeumo and Cunha and Bruno. Okay, so his strengths. He's got physicality and aerial threat. Despite his height, Sesko is not just a target man. He's a powerful player who can hold up the ball well. He also wins a significant number of aerial duels. That's actually quite good. Pace and dribbling. Sesko possesses impressive speed for his size, making him a threat in transition and enabling him to dribble past defenders. He's comfortable receiving the ball, turning quickly and using both feet to finish. That's actually pretty good. I mean, on paper he sounds amazing. Off the ball movement. Sesko's intelligent movement in and around the penalty area, as well as his willingness to drop deep to link up play, makes him a difficult player to mark. Now that's one thing that Rasmus Højlund doesn't have. He's not an intelligent footballer yet. But that movement can be learnt. I don't want us to give up on Rasmus Højlund. That's the thing. I think there's a player there. Now, back to Sesko. His experience in the Red Bull system has instilled in him a strong pressing ability, adding defensive value to his game. Now, Ruben Amorim really likes that. He really, really likes that. Sesko can adapt to different tactical setups, whether it's possession-based or counter-attacking style. Comparisons. Sesko has drawn comparisons to Erling Haaland due to his physical attributes and goal-scoring prowess. You can't really compare him to Haaland in terms of goal scoring because he's not hitting Haaland numbers. But yeah, I agree on the physical attribute side. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. He's also been compared to Zlatan for his agility and finesse despite his size. Now, Zlatan wasn't prolific at first. I mean, he learned how to score goals later on. And you could probably compare him a lot more to Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And from what I've seen from YouTube, he does seem to have that kind of skill set and technical ability and ability to hold up the ball and all of that. And he can score some worldies, to be fair. But he just doesn't quite have the numbers yet, really. And that concerns me. But he could learn that, I suppose. In essence, Sesko is a modern striker who combines the attributes of a traditional target man with the dynamism and technical ability of a more modern forward. Well, okay, fair enough. I mean, if we were going to get one, I mean, he does sound good. And as I said earlier in the stream, I wouldn't necessarily say a goal scorer, a number 9 goal scorer, is 100% a priority position at this point, now that we've got Cunha, who's got goals in him, and Bryan Mbeumo. And don't forget, both of those players can play as a number 9 as well. Let's have a look here. Niche fan, what you saying, my friend? Sesko is a player I'd like to have. I just don't think we can afford him. Look at how we had to structure the Mbeumo deal. Moreover, we still haven't unloaded any of the Freedom 5. The Freedom 5. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. And it also makes you wonder why Arsenal didn't go all in on him. I mean, they were desperate for a number 9. Why didn't they go for him? Not really. They flirted with him a little bit, but they chose to go with Gyökeres. Just something to point out. However, in terms of being able to afford a big name number 9, I think if we get rid of the Freedom 5, then I think we can afford pretty much anyone we want that would come, to be fair, within reason, of course. We're not going to, splash out 200 million on Erling Haaland, for instance. Niche fan again. We won't be signing a 9 this window or this season for that matter. We could potentially push Mbeumo into the number 9 and use Bruno in the number 10. It's no way ideal in any way. I just don't see Rasmus working. I agree on everything there apart from the Rasmus situation. I said on the stream yesterday, I don't know if we were talking yesterday, Niche fan, please forgive me if we were. He's been working quite closely, Ruben Amorim, that is. He's been working quite closely with Rasmus Højlund this pre-season. And I don't know, maybe the penny drops with Rasmus. If he's going to... I personally think he's got it in him. I do. I've seen enough from him to suggest that he can score at least 15 goals. He could get 15 goals in the league next season. He can. If he just stays in the number 9 position and he stops this track and back business, all he needs to do is concentrate on getting in the right positions and closing people down. I remember a story about Diogo Dalot. I mean, he showed glimpses of potential for the first couple of seasons at Man United, and then he got shipped out on loan. And he got shipped out to AC Milan. And the story goes that he got mentored a little bit by Paolo Maldini. And if you're going to get mentored by anyone, if you're a defender, he might as well be the greatest defender of all time. And apparently, Paolo Maldini said to him, I want you to concentrate on the positions. Your position, just where you are, where you're going to stand in any given, point of the game. Just do that. And he did. And he came back to United and he was a different player. He was actually twice the player that he was. Now, he's a bit of a controversial figure. Some people don't like him. Some people do. I personally like Diogo Dalot. And I think his game dramatically improved once he learnt that positional sense. Now, I think it's the same thing with Rasmus Højlund. As soon as he learns that positional sense, the goals are just going to come. And plus, he does need service as well. He needs service. And he's just not getting it, to be fair. So we'll see. We'll see. Bang Bang Pat for life. Yeah, we spoke yesterday, Bang Bang. And you told me, well, you didn't tell me, but I asked you, what's the meaning behind your name, Bang Bang Pat for life? That's an interesting name. So please tell me. But yeah, your question is, who is your 3 greatest plans of all time? Mine is CR7, R10 and Figo. I'm assuming you're saying who are my 3 greatest players of all time. R10. I'm assuming you mean Rooney 10. So Cristiano, Rooney 10 and Figo. That's an interesting 3. If we're talking about 3 greatest players of all time, or my favourite players, 3 favourite players, I'll go with my 3 favourite players. I'll answer that. Ruud van Nistelrooy. I thought he was brilliant. I used to like David Beckham. A little story, David Beckham. I was at the Man United match where famously Massimo Taibi let the ball in through his legs. I was actually behind the goal from a weak Matt Letizia shot. And I remember vividly seeing it trickle over the line. Now, that match was actually a really good match outside of the result. And we played really well. It's just that the goalkeeper was a bit crap that day. I think it was 3-3. But what I remember the most about that match is not actually Taibi letting the ball trickle, in between his legs. What I remember from that match was Paul Scholes and David Beckham basically just running that game. People talk about Xavi and Iniesta, 10 years later from that. So that this was maybe 2000 and... What year would this be? I think this would be about the year 2000 or something like that. So 10 years later, people used to sort of wax lyrical about Xavi and Iniesta sort of dominating the midfield and all of this, but Beckham and Scholes was doing it 10 years prior. Honestly, it was ridiculous. It was like a schoolyard game. They were just passing the ball between each other. It was a game of passy for 90 minutes. It was nuts. So David Beckham, I would say, is probably one of them. I used to really like Mark Hughes, But then he became Man City manager, so it kind of tainted that for me. So I'm going to throw in, instead of Mark Hughes, I'm torn between David De Gea and Bruno. I'm torn. I'm going to throw them both in there. So let's say David Beckham, Ruud van Nistelrooy, and either, or depending on what mood I'm in, David De Gea and Bruno Fernandes. But in terms of greatest players of all time, it's got to be Messi, Ronaldo, and or that's a good question. Maybe throw in Marco van Basten. There. One out of left field. Controversial opinion of mine. I think Marco van Basten was better than Brazilian Ronaldo. Anyway, here we go. Niche fan, if you're right about Rasmus, that effectively fixes everything for us. I'd be much less worried about a goalkeeper if that's the case. Yeah, I agree. I agree. It would fix everything. It would. Because the thing is, we've got Bryan Mbeumo in now and Matthias Cunha. But what does that mean for other players? I mean, what about Xerxes? What about Diallo? What about Mason Mount? Question marks about where Bruno's going to play, because he's still our captain. He's still our best player. So, I mean, I think his best position is in one of those number 10 positions. So, they're not going to spend over 100 million on two players and not play them. So, does that mean that one of them is going to play up front? Does it mean Bruno's going to play in midfield? I mean, there's Mason Mount as well. So, is it going to be Xerxes and Rasmus Højlund fighting it out for that number 9 position? We don't know. And a bunch of those players, there's been no talk. I mean, there was brief talk about Rasmus going away, but it was never taken really seriously. And Rasmus is, I think he has anyway, expressly made it clear that he wants to stay and fight for his place, which is good. It shows, the kid's got fight in him. And he's a hard worker. He's just not an intelligent footballer just yet. But yeah, I mean, if we get rid of the Freedom 5 and that frees up 100 million, then we could potentially get a new goalkeeper. So yeah. Bang bang Pat for life. Ronaldinho, yeah, he's a good one. Ronaldinho, class player. He was absolutely class. It's a shame we didn't get him. Have a look in my back catalogue. I've done a little commentary video about Ronaldinho almost signing for Manchester United. I think it's a good video. It didn't get many views because it was one of my early ones. I was hoping the algorithm might pick it up. So please look back at that. Watch it. It's quite humorous. You might like it. Tell me what you think. It's about Ronaldinho nearly signing for Man United. It's on one of the playlists. I'm sure it is. Players that nearly signed for Manchester United. Have a look and let me know what you think. Anyway, yeah, he would have been class for Man United. Imagine Ronaldinho and Ruud van Nistelrooy playing up front for Man United back then, being supported by Scholes and Keane and Giggs. That would have been insane. Bang Bang Pat for life, and my name is Bang Bang. I like to keep the mystique to it. Fair enough, Bang Bang. Well played, my friend. Niche fan, my 3 favourite players of all time, not who I think are the best, are Laetitia, Gascoigne and Rooney. Yeah. All number 10s, Niche fan. I'm assuming you like the classic old school number 10s. I certainly do. Matt Laetitia was class, and I really like Matt Laetitia as a man as well. He seems to be a really genuine bloke, and he's certainly not scared of telling the truth as well. Yeah, I've got a lot of respect for Matt Laetitia. A lot of respect. Paul Gascoigne, yeah, he's definitely a what-if kind of player, isn't he? But yeah, Paul Gascoigne was a good player. And Wayne Rooney, well, Wayne Rooney was what a player. What a player indeed. Niche fan, I want Mount gone and Xerxes gone as well. I'd rather stick it out with Rasmus or push Bryan into the number 9. Yeah. Yeah, Mount is a funny one because he's just been a sick note since we bought him, and how much money is he on per week? I mean, he's gone nowhere, so I wouldn't sort of bet the house on Mason Mount leaving Man United anytime soon. The thing is with Mason Mount, if he stays fit, he's actually a really good player, and if he stays fit, he can play in that number 8 position, no problem, and he's a very good squad option. And when the odd game that he played last season, he actually came on and played really well. The mistake that Ruben Amorim made was starting him in that Europa League final. Why did he do that? I'm not surprised Garnacho was annoyed at that, really, because I would have been annoyed. So maybe he likes him. Erik ten Hag liked him. And he is a really good player when he's fit. I mean, don't forget, he's won the Champions League. And I think he got man of the match in the Champions League final. He certainly got the assist for Kai Havertz. Was it his winner? Was it 1-0 against Man City or was it 2? I can't remember. But he got the assist for him. Anyway, Xerxes, I really like Xerxes, niche fan. Sorry, pal. I want to see him develop. He showed some flashes of brilliance last season. He just needs to just continue working. See, that's the thing. We've bought a bunch of players that weren't the finished article, which is what I'm afraid of with the Sesko situation. Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo are good to go. They are Premier League proven. They should hit the ground running next season. But we need, if we're going to buy a striker, it needs to be someone that's ready. Now, Gyökeres, I could understand if we went for him because he should be good to go. He should be there. That's it. It's the same with Vlahovic. He's got enough experience now where he should hit the ground running. Whereas Sesko, he's still, he's still, there's still question marks there. It's the same with Ekitike. It's like, are they going to make the step up? So anyway, the point I'm making is that we bought Antony, who wasn't the finished article. We bought Xerxes, that wasn't the finished article. We bought Rasmus Højlund, that wasn't the finished article. And who else? I'm sure there's been a couple more. But if we're going to buy players that are not the finished article, they've got to have at least 2 seasons to acclimatise to the Premier League. And I think maybe next season or the season after, Xerxes could be a class player. And don't forget as well, just going back to Rasmus Højlund as well, I mean, these are players that have come into Man United where it's been chaos. They've had 3 different managers and they've only been there 2 years, So I think they just need a little bit more time, Xerxes especially, and then we might just see some useful players there. And it is a squad game, so we do need some backup players. Yeah. I'm a little bit concerned. I mean, we've bought 2 number 10s basically in Mbeumo. Well, Mbeumo's not really a number 10, but he's going to be playing in that number 10. I mean, is this going to hinder the development of Xerxes and Diallo? People forgot about Diallo. Diallo's ready. He's good to go. So, I mean, what's going to happen on that front as well, I've lost my chain of thought a little bit there. Let's see. Yeah, no, I haven't lost my chain of thought. But yeah, I think Mbeumo could play at the number 9 at certain points next season. Bang, bang. But yes, I mean Ronaldinho, not Rooney. Oh, yes. All right. Yeah, fair enough, pal. Yeah. But Rooney was class, and I forgot to mention my guy, the great R9. Yeah, he was certainly a player. Although I would argue Marco van Basten was better. Albert Ewer. United should go for Sesko. Fair enough. Niche fan, I've just missed one of your comments. Let's see. I think we need to give Bryan the number 7 shirt immediately. I genuinely think he's going to be our best player in years. Might be a shout. But Mason Mount's got it at the moment. So maybe they'll take it off him. Maybe they won't. I don't know. If they took it off him, it would kill his confidence a little bit, and he was really starting to sort of build up a little bit of momentum last season, Mason Mount, and I wouldn't want to see that hindered. Bang bang Pat for life. And it grinds me mad when people go on about Xavi, Iniesta, Deco and Rui Costa, Webb, both better players. I'm assuming what you're saying there, Bang Bang, is it grinds you mad or you bad when people go on about Xavi and Iniesta. Deco and Rui Costa were both better players. I'm assuming that's what you mean there, pal. That's actually a bold shout, Deco and Rui Costa. I'm not sure about that one, mate. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where I stand on that one. But they were good players. Deco and Rui Costa, both Champions League winners. Fair enough. But Xavi and Iniesta were special. They were special, to be fair. Not as good as Zinedine Zidane. Let's throw that one out there. He was better than them all. Niche fan, I get what you're saying. Maybe I just don't see what you're seeing in terms of potential with Xerxes. Any player at the club has to fit the Amorim system. Amorim has said he simply won't compromise, which is good. I agree. And I like that about Ruben Amorim. See, there's been players in the past that have just kind of eased their way into the team and looked to build a team over time. But I think Ruben Amorim has, whether he's done this, I mean, maybe he's just like this anyway, but where he's different to everyone else, he's just come in and realised he doesn't have a long time at Manchester United. So he's just going to play his way straight away. And at the very least, by him doing what he's done, he's forcing the board to back him properly to get him the players that he needs, so that if he's going to go down, he's going to go down in a blaze of glory. So fair enough. But yeah, the thing is with Xerxes, one of the reasons why, well, the two reasons why I think it's worth keeping him is, one, I mean, he has shown some flashes of brilliance, but also he's been absolutely class for me on Football Manager. And we all know Football Manager is never wrong. Bang Bang, what you saying? I think if Rooney had the mindset, he would have been better than he was, and the elite world-class player like CR7 and Messi. Okay, yes, I see what you're saying there, Bang Bang, and I agree in principle with that. Now, I don't necessarily think that Wayne Rooney had a bad mindset. I mean, after all, he won everything he could win in the game at club level, and he was Man United's all-time top scorer. But the difference between him and, I mean, let's just say this. He wasn't as good as Messi. He just wasn't. No one is. The only player that I can think of that had the same level of talent as Lionel Messi was George Best. But obviously George Best wasn't as professional as Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi was an alien. He's an alien. He shouldn't be counted, really, in the top 10 greatest footballers of all time, because that would suggest he was human, but he wasn't. But I do think that Wayne Rooney had more footballing talent than Cristiano Ronaldo. But what made Cristiano Ronaldo better than Wayne Rooney was Ronaldo was a better athlete, and his mindset was more selfish. He wanted to be the star of the show, and because of that, he was the star of the show, and all eyes were on him, and that allowed him to sort of be the focal point of the team, and that allowed him to garner the awards, etc., etc., etc. But Wayne Rooney was more willing to sacrifice himself for the team, which kind of made him a more valuable player for Man United anyway. And I used to watch, when I used to go to the games, I've been to a lot of games, when I used to watch back in the day, because I used to live down the road from Old Trafford back in around between 2006 and 2008 before I moved to London to become an actor. I used to watch Rooney and Ronaldo, and Rooney was one of my favourite players during that time. Ronaldo wasn't, believe it or not. Ronaldo has never been my favourite player for Man United. I always preferred other players, the players that had a bit more work ethic on the pitch. Now, Ronaldo had work ethic off the pitch, and he did have work ethic on the pitch, but I always felt there was other players that worked harder. And Ronaldo benefited a lot from Wayne Rooney's and Tevez's work ethic. Now, Wayne Rooney would create chances for Ronaldo time and time again, but he would sort of get the ball, he'd miss a chance, or he'd give the ball away, and it'd be so frustrating. And he'd do that 9 times, but then on the 10th time, he'd score a screamer from 40 yards, and he'd win the game, and then he would be the hero. And that was kind of Ronaldo's time at Manchester United. But I used to think that Wayne Rooney was more talented. He was a better all-round footballer. And I think he proved that when he became the focal point in the team after Ronaldo left. If you saw, like in the 9-10 season, he was on about 40 goals by February. So he was as prolific as what Ronaldo was. Unfortunately, he just didn't have the body type for it with Wayne Rooney. And he always seemed to get awkward injuries at awkward times. Like in 2006 and 2004 when he did his metatarsal. I mean, in 2004, he potentially could have won a Ballon d'Or, because if he'd single-handedly carried England to Euro 2004, you had to have given him the Ballon d'Or, you know. And also in 2010, if he didn't hurt his ankle, United probably would have won the Champions League last season, and then Rooney would have got about 50 goals, and he would have been the prime candidate for the Ballon d'Or. But unfortunately, he didn't have that little bit of luck. So what I'm saying is, if Wayne Rooney was a little bit more selfish, going back to your mindset there, Bang Bang, and also if he was a little bit lucky with injuries, because remember, Ronaldo hasn't really had many injuries in his career, then I think Wayne Rooney could potentially have been closer to that Messi and Ronaldo sort of conversation, shall we say. But I will say this, Wayne Rooney was the third best player of his generation. Unfortunately for him, the other two was Messi and Ronaldo. But yeah, I agree to a degree. Let's see. Let me catch up a little bit on these chats. People are talking tonight. I really like this. Keep these questions coming, guys. As I say, as I promised, the Big D reads all of the chat. Let's see. Bang bang. Here we go. What are you saying? World class like so niche fan. Realistically, where do you have us finishing next season if we don't do any more business in this window? I have us 6th. Realistically, I think minimum 6. Yeah, it just depends on if everyone plays to their potential. If Bruno plays to his potential, if De Ligt plays to his potential, if Ugarte, Kobe Mainoo, Dalot, Dorgu, Cunha, Mbeumo, Rasmus Højlund, if they all play to their potential, we'll easily finish top 4. Because I know Liverpool and all these other teams have bought all these new players and all of this, but you can't play everyone all at once. You can only fit 11 players on the pitch. And don't forget, we're going to be fresh next season because we haven't been to the Club World Cup. And also don't forget as well, we don't have European football next season. So we're only going to be playing League Cup, FA Cup and the Premier League. So you would think we could get a nice flow going in the Premier League. So there's no reason, if we don't sign anyone else from this Mbeumo deal onwards, there's no reason, barring injuries as well, that we can't finish top 4 next season. That's what I think, Niche Fan. That's what I think, my friend. Niche Fan, could you imagine a front 3 of Rooney, Mbeumo and Cunha? Oh my God, that would be unstoppable. Who are we talking about, Niche Fan? Are we talking about Wayne Rooney or are we talking about Rooney Bargy? Yeah, but either way, that would be pretty good up front. This has so far been my longest stream, and it's all because of you guys on these excellent questions. Niche Fan, Rooney is the better all-round footballer than CR7. Nani's stats were better than CR7 in his first season compared to CR7's first season. Yeah, Nani was underrated. Nani was, for about 18 months, world class. He was. And that was around maybe the 2010, between 2010 and 2012, something like that. He was. And he used to do quite well against Arsenal as well. But he just didn't quite have the X factor that CR7 had to sustain it throughout his career. But yeah, Yeah, I do remember back in the day, I was kind of hoping that Nani would break through the Cristiano barrier. And yeah, his stats were comparable up until the same age. Where Nani became world class, up until that point, so we're talking the 2010-2011 season, his stats were comparable to Cristiano Ronaldo. Unfortunately, that's where Nani hit his ceiling in about 2011, and he just never kicked on from there. And then, obviously, Fergie left, and then Van Gaal came in, and everything just fell to pieces after that. Guys, I am absolutely shattered. Plus, I haven't had my tea tonight, and I've gone on longer than I thought I was going to do. But this has been an absolutely excellent stream tonight. I'm going to close it out there. We're going to leave it there, and I'm going to say goodbye. But thanks so much. It's been a good stream. Always remember, if you've got something to say, put it in the chat, put it in the comments. The Big D has really enjoyed it tonight. Please check out my other videos. Check out my TikTok. Check out my Insta. Keep your notifications alive so that you know when the next Big D stream or video hits. And always put your thoughts in the comments. The Big D reads all of the comments. And the Big D is going to leave it there. The Big D is knackered. And he's sweating, and he can feel his voice going, and he's going to shoot off. But yeah, thanks again for tonight, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.